Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel. We're glad you could make it, and remember, watch us because we're watching you. In this series of episodes, we'll be going to the PRL Museum.
Waiting for a ride, feeling like a loner. No.
That's right, the museum of what Poland was like under the communist regime. It's a fascinating look at the past and back into a time that we don't have to live in anymore, thankfully. But nonetheless, a full range of communist kitsch is on display. There's a little cafe serving treats of the time as well as coffee made in an ancient machine. Still tasty in its own way. There are plenty of artifacts of the time on display. There's even the reconstruction of a small flat of the time with all the kinds of machines, utensils, and clothing that you would have seen, not to mention furnishings and furniture. It's all a truly guilty pleasure. After the People's Republic of Poland Museum, we'll go to the shooting range at FSO. And my guest, Maria Kadzielska, will learn to shoot. She'll be shooting for the first time. This is the safest and most popular shooting range in Poland, where all the major competitions are held. And it's located in the old FSO factory. So stay tuned for thrills and spills on the next series of episodes in Poland Daily Travel. I'm Will Richardson. Thanks for watching. Hello, everybody. I'm Will, and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel. We're glad to see you. You're looking well today. But this guy, we don't like this guy. This guy is wearing the uniform of the Communist Police during the PRL. That's the Polish People's Republic. And we're in the museum of the PRL. And if you saw a few of these guys walking around, you were best to go the other way. These are not your friends. At any rate, let's take a walk through some of the exhibits. Those of you who've seen the previous episodes know that we've been here visiting with Jacek, who's the curator here, and we've also shown you a look at the milk bar, so how people ate from the time, and then how people lived. We showed you one of the apartments. So now, let me take you on and we'll look at a few of the exhibits. Let's just weave our way through. Right, so one of the biggest things of the time, of the communist times, was how to entertain yourself. Because let's face it, friends, life can be boring, but there's nothing more boring than communism. I mean, it really was a boring time. But still, people managed to find ways to amuse themselves. And here are some of the implements. Radios, phonographs, tape machines, cassette machines, everything you need. And here's a nice lady even wearing headphones. This must be from, I would say, the 70s. I don't see a date on, yes, 77, from the 70s. And then, if you were so lucky, that's the kind of entertainment you could have at home. But if you were so lucky, you could see even a live group on the stage. In this particular case, you may recognize, if you see the picture again, apart from these people freaking out, you'll see that this is actually film of the Rolling Stones. They were here in 1967. They played in the Palace of Culture. It is still, there's Mick Jagger. It's still one of the most remembered events that's happened that happened in communist Poland. Right up there with martial law. And there's Mr. Jagger again, doing his thing. So live entertainment is a big thing, both theater and also, we're talking about theater, we're also talking about concerts, because Polish rock and roll has many, many legends, and not only that, popular singing as well. Here we see some things about the Palace of Culture. The Palace of Culture, of course, the big building in the center of Warsaw, was a gift from Stalin, opened in about 1955, and was the center of entertainment, culture, and science in Warsaw. It even had a huge swimming pool, and I'm told there's the mystery of hundreds of cats who live in the basement, some of them having gone blind from being out of the sunlight for so long. At any rate, the Palace of Culture also where the Rolling Stones played, fittingly enough. And then we come along over here, look at this. These are all posters or pieces of packaging from the time. Dom Tovarovi Centrum, this is I suppose this is a small bag where you would buy something. That's the central department stores. These buildings still exist. If you go there, they have different names. It's not the Dom Tovarovi, which means general department store or general shopping center. It's other things now, many other things, including a lot of the famous names, brand names that you know. This is Pevex. Pevex was the place, the state-owned shops where you could buy alcohol and all the, more expensive things that you wouldn't find in a regular store, and you had to pay in cash. Of course, there's no credit at that time. Here we see some hair dryers. I mean, look at these things. They're almost, they look like they're from Egyptian times. Like you would find them, sort of thing you'd find in a pyramid, buried along with a pharaoh from long, long ago. Yes, vacuum cleaners, of course, there as well. So these are just a few of the apparatus that you would have at home. And then we come along here, and there's a little bit about solidarity. Oh, this is worth talking about. Well, this solidarity here. 9th of June, 1989, which is pretty much the time when Poland had just become a free nation again and kicking the Russians out. But here are some old Polish zloty notes. I can remember a time, I've heard stories of a time when you would have a million zloty note in your pocket and it would be worth about $10. So there was a lot of inflation. Eventually it just knocked a bunch of the zeros off and created a currency that made sense, just by fiat, really. And of course, 1978 on the timeline, we have the Pope elected. John Paul II was elected Pope in 1978. And here we go around, and look at these things. These are fascinating because you can tell a lot by the packaging. I mean, look how boxes and things, these old cans, this looks like stuff from the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s even in the United States or in Britain. So the packaging was very, we can say very basic, not very exciting, but at least it told you what it is. Here's tea, Herbata Darjeeling, that's of course Darjeeling tea. And here's some cocoa powder for breakfast from Wedel, which is amazing, isn't it? And so forth, and so on. Now you can, here's Kava Inca. That's kava that's made with an extract of a nut, but I can't remember what kind of nut it is at the moment. It's the Rzebozowe. If you're Polish, you will know, if you have a Polish background, you'll know what that means. I'm not really sure, but it's like hazelnut or something like that, coffee. And no, just more packaging of that kind. At any rate, I'll tell you what I really like, and what I'm going to go look at now is the propaganda films from the time. In this cinema, you can see propaganda films from the old days. I'm going to go sit down and watch a couple. It's Poland Daily Travel, and I got to get a dose of propaganda. Stay tuned for the next thrilling episode. Watch us, because we're watching you.